Riverside terraces, mountain views, artisan pastries, breakfast made from scratch, and seriously good coffee.
Unfortunately, that is not what you'll find in most cafes here in the Jungfrau region, where you're more likely to get coffee made from something like this.
But you're in luck, because we've spent the last 3 years going to cafe after cafe after cafe in order to find 7 that you do not want to miss.
So come along with us to Mürren, Grindelwald, and Interlaken, where we'll introduce you to the people behind the very best cafes in the Jungfrau region and get their tips on exactly which food and drinks you should try when you visit.
Welcome to InSport Coffee Bar. It is literally inside of the InSport shop. So you can have a caffeine fix and a quick snack while shopping for some new gear too. Mürren also has world-class hiking and mountain views, so shouldn't it have world-class coffee too?
That's exactly what the owner Belinda has created. High quality coffee in a cafe that beautifully represents what Mürren is all about.
I grew up here. My childhood, my upbringing, was all in Mürren, and I'm really passionate about this place.
Belinda's first memory of coffee was going shopping with her grandma as a child, and afterwards they'd head to a cafe.
We used to always get a baby chino, and it was a big thing that we went to the supermarket, then after shopping we went to a little coffee shop, and I think that was the first taste I got for coffee.
She moved back to Australia as a teenager and got a job at a local coffee shop. And that's where the inspiration for InSport Coffee Bar was planted.
Every coffee had to go out with latte art, so it was unacceptable to send something out that was just poured.
Which is really just a professional way of saying,
I became a coffee snob.
Belinda moved back to Switzerland and decided to open up a cafe of her own.
And I always wanted to have a coffee shop. I always wanted to make good coffee in Mürren. Intersport is my dad's shop, so it's actually a retail store.
Although it took some strategizing and quite a few hoops to jump through, she got the permit to open her cafe just 1 day before the grand opening. Just like her and her grandma, you can get your shopping done and grab a coffee at the same time. And if you were to order just one item when you visit, we 100% agree with what Belinda recommends.
I think the mountain cappuccino, because it speaks for itself. Just something that is a little bit different and stands out.
We've had the cappuccino, the baby chino, the smoothies, the pies. Every time we come, we get something different, and we're never disappointed.
I would love people to know that this is not just a place that you come to for coffee. Like, we're really passionate about giving great service, so if that means you need ideas to go for a hike and whatnot, I like to call it the place where coffee meets community, because it's more than just coffee.
I think it's pretty rare that you can find a place that can accommodate absolute coffee snobs like myself, but it also feels like inviting and welcoming for people who don't even drink coffee or are just getting into it. And Belinda has created that kind of atmosphere here.
Welcome to Cafe 3692. I cannot even count how many times we have been here before. That's because it has one of the best terraces in Grindelwald, some of the friendliest folks in town, amazing artisan cakes, and a cappuccino made for hardworking alpine farmers like Brett.
They have way more than just coffee and cakes. And the owners, Bruno and Miriam, started their life together in the most Swiss way you can possibly imagine.
Before we built the coffee shop, we run the Kleckstein hut together, and this is the 3692. It's the altitude of the Wetterhorn.
Let me just stop there real quick. The Kleckstein hut is up here, and it's used as a base for climbing the Wetterhorn, which, as Miriam said, has an altitude of 3,692 meters. Bruno's parents ran the hut for a while, then Bruno and Miriam ran the hut, and then Bruno proposed to Miriam on the literal summit of the Wetterhorn.
We love what we do, so it's a lot of, we call it Herzblut. Bruno's story with the woodwork, and my story with the gastronomic, which I really love, and I really love people they enjoy.
And you can see their passion in everything they do. Bruno built the cafe, and as Miriam said, his handwriting is all over the interior. From the ceiling that looks like wooden waves, to the trees and roots, to the beer tap made out of hand planes, and even the bathroom doors. But one of my favorite things inside is this mining cart that has a pretty cool backstory.
That's the story of the building of the tunnel to the Jungfrau. They used these mine wagons to get the stones out. After the detonation inside, it's an open fireplace, and if we roll it out, we can do barbecue.
And yeah, if it's a nice day when you come, you're gonna wanna soak in the views while you enjoy a coffee, cake, or meal. But if you're looking for food recommendations, it's kinda hard because
we don't have every day the same. So I think our signature dish is the surprise.
And you will not be disappointed. This is the perfect stop for every meal of the day, an afternoon snack, and of course, coffee and cake.
We came here in the morning for coffee and tea, but then we lingered long enough to stay here for lunch. So I have a very typical Taschnitte, which is cheese toast, and Brett ordered typical roasty, but his also has salmon on it. What I love is that they're so much more than a cafe and a restaurant. They also sell local artwork, handmade jewelry, they have local events here, and they even have a kids area.
And for a romantic getaway in Grindelwald, check out their Love Room. But whether you stay in the Love Room or just swing by for food and drinks, here's a little advice.
Be flexible, enjoy, and take care of our beautiful little country.
And don't just come here for the Alpler cappuccino, because that's what I get.
Yes, exactly.
Welcome to Velo Cafe. We came here for the first time about 3 years ago, and I am not exaggerating when I say that one or both of us has been here at least 50 times. It's because the location is super convenient in Interlaken. The coffee meets Brett's unbelievably high standards, and even for me, a non-coffee drinker, I can always find some delicious food or drinks to enjoy.
Like a lot of people, I probably drink more coffee than I should. More than coffee, I like coffee houses. And I've always been kind of drawn to design. So those two things for me were like what made Velo Cafe, you know? I know people used to drive 20 minutes from Interlaken to go and get a good coffee. So for me it was like, oh, I could create all of those things together, and that's kind of what I did.
And Velo Cafe takes Italian espresso-based drinks to a whole new level with their hands-on process and attention to details.
I remember being introduced to an Italian espresso machine as a young man and enjoying using it. The whole process is very manual, and it still is today. Not a lot has changed. And that's Italian coffee making, and so that's what we have.
As soon as you walk in the door, you're greeted not only by the smell of espresso, but also the cool bike-themed decor.
People always come in and go, wow, you know, and get their phones out straight away. As a little boy, my first opportunity to go further than the end of my street was when I got a bike, you know, and that just gave me freedom. And when I first moved to Interlaken, I had no money, and so I got a bike. And you can go far on a bike, you know, Switzerland, you can see the whole country on a bike, and I have. But it just complements, it all works together really well.
But it's not just coffee and bikes here. When we asked Rob which one food item everyone should try, he had a quick and simple answer.
Carrot cake. Carrot cake. You gotta try the carrot cake. It's my mum's recipe.
You had better believe I've had that carrot cake at least probably 5 times.
And then on the savory side, our breakfast burrito and our breakfast sandwich with grilled halloumi and spicy mayo.
Massive.
And I'm kind of a messy eater, so we'll see how this goes.
That sauce is the bomb.
Oh, just a hint of spiciness, but enough to be flavor instead of just heat.
I need a napkin.
All right, now we have the breakfast burrito.
Pretty partial to burgers, so I'm not sure how we're gonna beat that breakfast burger, but Rob did say that this is like the most popular breakfast item.
Oh yeah, we got egg, we got spinach, I think, cheese.
Oh my gosh, that pita is like perfectly grilled. Is that avocado?
It's a breakfast burrito, how can you go wrong?
And as for the cafe, well, you might find yourself coming here every day if you stay in Interlaken.
It's just a nice little place down a little street, tucked out of the way. You can come and have a quick bite, or you can come and sit on the sofa and sit somewhere comfy, sit somewhere private, somewhere where locals and tourists both can have a little home away from home.
If you're excited to make these spots your home away from home, hit that like button and learn how to fit them into your trip itinerary using our 1-week guide to the Jungfrau Region.
Welcome to the Arberg Hotel and Cafe. We personally like to come here on Sundays with our friends, but we love how they have these cozy one-on-one spots to chat. There are larger tables so you can gather as a group, or you can enjoy the beautiful Riverside terrace with mountain views.
But all you'll need is a quick peek to notice this place is oozing with historic charm.
I mean, the building's been here, we estimate about 150 years.
Once upon a time, it was a very Swiss traditional restaurant.
And hotel.
And a hotel. We kept the name going, and the name comes from that word directly on the Ara, so Ara. And Berg is like a little castle, and so it's like a little castle on the river.
But this little castle hasn't always been home for Tim and Kat. And of all the places they could have settled, they picked Unterseen.
Why Unterseen? There's no specific reason, but the location of this building, having a terrace on the front of the river with a mountain view, it's pretty unique in Interlaken. And who wouldn't like to sit on a terrace by the river first thing in the morning, late in the evening?
Well, we sure do. But what's even better about the Arberg is that you can feast your eyes on the views while you enjoy their coffee and food made with absolute passion.
Everything here is made from scratch. Classics would be the Eggs Benedict, the French toast for something sweet.
As the guy with the sweet tooth, I can absolutely confirm that the top French toast is fire.
And dessert-wise, I would say the cheesecakes.
Along with this amazing brookie.
For real, Brett always gets the brookie. I'm the one who tries something different every time we come, and all of the baked goods in the glass case are really good, even though he only orders the brookie.
And Tim, well, he keeps his recommendations simple.
I'd say coffee. Just come and try the coffee. Have it the way that you like it, and if you don't know how you like it, ask us and we'll tell you how you like it.
Okay, so if you're like me and you don't want coffee, and if you also don't want a hot drink or tea, I can highly recommend the Apfelschorle. It's like a carbonated apple juice, and it is very Swiss.
In addition to the views and the food, there are 2 more things we love about the Arberg Hotel and Cafe. First, their staff.
We have 11 employees.
11 employees, and I
10
think
nationalities.
yeah, I was going to say 10 nationalities.
Second, it's a hangout for tourists and locals alike.
You might literally get dropped off from someone after your paragliding trip or something or other, and then half an hour later your paragliding pilot's sitting next to you, so that's kind of cool.
Welcome to Cafe Live. We came here for the first time more than 5 years ago, which was way before YouTube was even a dream in our minds. Whether we come here for a coffee or a cake or a refreshing summer drink, we can hardly resist stopping here when we come up to Mürren.
Constance is the owner of Cafe Live, and she told us she named the place after her first daughter, Olive. So we asked her if anything else in the cafe was inspired by her family.
That's the toasty. With cranberry jam and the brie from the area. So my dad used to have this camembert, which had breadcrumbs around, and then you fry it, and you have it for breakfast together with a bread roll and some cranberry jam. So we had it every Sunday. That's my childhood.
Wow.
That's so light and refreshing. It's not super powerful.
It's cheese toast, which is already amazing.
Which actually makes a good like breakfast or brunch sandwich.
But that little hint of cranberry, that is fantastic.
That is really delightful.
But the cranberry toasty is just one of many great things on the menu. We've also enjoyed plenty of cappuccinos, the chocolate cheesecake, which Constance said is her personal favorite, the vanilla lemonade, which is the perfect summertime drink, and lots of other cakes and brownies too. But when we asked which one item she thinks everyone should try, she said,
The apple walnut cake. which has cream cheese frosting and caramel on top, and it's epic.
Cafe Liv serves up plenty of original creations, and Constance is gracious to share that some recipes are her own, while many have come from the fantastic people who work with her. But the cozy interior of the cafe has her fingerprints all over it.
Everything is from scratch. This wood from the counter is just wood that we found somewhere. All these tables, we built them ourselves as well. It's one big oak tree. So they are all in line. If you put it all together, you will see it's the inside of one tree.
Constance isn't originally from Mürren, but when she showed up here from Germany, she quickly realized this place is pretty special.
One of my first memories is actually, when you have to do paperwork. We had to go down to the Gemeinde in Lauterbrunnen, but we didn't have to take a train or a car or anything. We took our snowboards and we were boarding down literally until 100 meters in front of the council building. And that was for me the key when I fell in love.
We can't imagine Mürren without Cafe Liv. And it's safe to say that for Constance, Cafe Liv and Mürren are inseparable too. So here's her special advice to you before you come visit.
Just bring time. Come, bring time and sit here all day. That's for me, Mürren, watching the Eigermönken Jungfrau.
Welcome to Eigerbean Cafe and Coffee Roastery. Brett is a little bit of a coffee snob, and this place says that it is made for people who love coffee. Talk about a match made in heaven. But I won't spill all the beans.
Coffee is the thing which brings people together. I always had in mind to open an own business. And then I had the opportunity to make a little barista education, and those guys had so much fun into coffee. It really showed up how it could be.
What started as a daily ritual with his grandparents in Germany developed into a full-fledged passion. Marco roasts the coffee beans in-house, and there are so many little things he does to make the coffee drinking experience truly special. Obviously, coffee beans aren't grown in Switzerland, but Marco makes sure to have the local flavor by having only local cow's milk or oat milk that comes from Switzerland.
I guess I'm in this area quite alone with some specialty coffee and with a bit modern roast like light roasts. And I try to make a combination between bartending and roasting coffee.
And you can tell this is where his passion lies. During our visit, he kept bringing new and unique drinks for us to try seemingly every few minutes. This is a cold brew mixed with Swiss tonic water. I'm usually not a fan of cold brew, but that is really good.
Being married to Brett, I have tried every kind of coffee there is, and I have yet to find one that I like, but he told me I have to try this coffee bonbon. It's like a sweet coffee dessert. Let's see how it is.
I don't even think you got the coffee.
I got the coffee. Still tastes like coffee. But I think you'll like it.
He said it's sweetened condensed milk on the bottom and then a layer of espresso and then milk foam. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I could see why he calls it coffee dessert. That is good. With so much creativity, training, and passion, you might be wondering if your experience will feel overwhelming if you're brand new to coffee. But that's something else we really appreciate about Marco.
It's super interesting if somebody walks in. That happens sometimes. I don't like coffee, but it's a nice shop. I like to get people into coffee during a little chat. So they don't really need to know something before. They get surprised what they find in here.
Even if you hate coffee, like Jana, there's plenty for you to enjoy too. In addition to teas, lemonades, and steamed milks, he has something you may not have tried anywhere else.
We have a new product which called Cascara, and it's the coffee sherry.
And it tastes like fruit. It's a fruit tea with caffeine.
And well, that's the best way to get a healthy kind of energy drink, but without any coffee flavor.
I'm pretty excited to try this. I've never heard of this before. That is so interesting. It's like slightly sweet. Wow. welcome to Spatz. You'll often see Brett sipping a cappuccino by the windows or hanging out by the water on the amazing terrace. And while they serve some really good Italian-style coffee, that's not even remotely the beginning of the heart and soul of what they do here.
We lived in Rome, Italy for 6 months back in 2017, and that was when we were first introduced to the incredible Italian aperitivo. But we'll get to the food in a minute. Let's jump back to Jan's childhood with his brother in his grandfather's garden.
Back in the days, we used to sit together, we had a big bonfire going, and my granddad, he always pulled out, you know, like the big bottles of wine, a couple of beers, and friends would come swing by. And I think that's a big part of what we do celebrate here as well. Just coming together, it doesn't really matter where you're from, who you are, you know. All that matters is that you want to have a good time.
And you're guaranteed a good time here from your first glimpse of this place. When people first see the location of Spatz and the terrace right on the river, they often say,
"Oh wow, that's amazing." It is beautiful. When I had the opportunity to take over the location here as well as the hotel next door, I was basically a no-brainer. Interlaken is probably the most beautiful place on earth, but there's literally only one bar that's located right next to the water, and that's us.
Spatz's menu has many small plates and snacks, but if there's one thing you should definitely order,
it's the focaccia. We have homemade focaccia. We bake them fresh every day. We fill them with some mortadella, burrata, with the pistachio on top.
When Jan was cutting the mortadella, it literally smelled like I was in Italy. There's no non-messy way to eat this.
Very beautiful to eat on camera.
Oh man.
This focaccia bread is amazing because normally it's very oily and heavy, but this is light and airy but still has the classic flavor of focaccia. Cheers to their baker.
Sometimes we drive down to Italy on a weekend, we bring back some prosciutto di Parma, fior di latte, you know, special goods you can't get here in the same quality.
Earlier this week, they literally went on a work trip to find really good local wines.
We went on a tour around Switzerland to visit some producers, and we brought back some amazing bottles of Swiss wine. What we focus on here is on small productions, unique wines which you can't really get in other places around town.
I am a sucker for a really good meat and cheese platter like this one. We have more prosciutto and more mortadella, and then we have a variety of cheeses topped with sun-dried tomatoes in the middle, and pairs perfectly with this Swiss wine.
Jan and his colleagues are practically sommeliers because they can suggest which bottle is best for your aperitivo and your personal taste. But whether you're in the mood for a morning cappuccino, evening aperitivo, or a small town hotel, Spatz is the spot for you. And if you enjoyed this, watch this video next to see our absolute favorite activities and experiences throughout the Jungfrau region, including the tastiest gelato, the best waterfall, and our favorite viewpoint. We'll see you in Switzerland.
The people filming this are awesome.